Ready to get started?
Fuck you.
Eat a dick.
Welcome to Turn Extension, a supplemental podcast for the Advanced Maneuvers YouTube channel.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Turn Extension. My name is Sony, or probably Rick on the forums.
Hey everybody, it's Kevin, Down Dark on the forums.
Hey everybody, it's Devin, Cutthroat Cure on the forums.
So today...
Please tell me that that's going to go into the intro.
Of course it is. Why would I not let that go in the intro?
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yes. God damn it, Kevin. Now I feel like we need to re-record the intro.
So fair warning to everybody. We are freestyling this one. We have no agenda. We're just going to shoot from the hip. We got a couple things that we want to share out with you today. Some of the things that are happening on the channel, some of the things that's going to be happening, that we're looking to potentially do in the future and stuff like that. But if you came to this episode looking for some sort of tactical tip or something like that, sorry, skip to the next one, or go back to last month's or last week's and listen to the prior one.
Yep, and also
Go, Tony.
All right. Well, I would say sorry. Also, the last 2 weeks, we did not put out an episode. 2 weeks ago, I was sick, and then last week was Adepticon, so Devin wasn't there, and then Kevin was getting over his cold because his kid decided to infect him with the plague. So I really apologize for the 2 weeks of not putting anything up. We will try to be a lot better about doing that in the future.
Yeah, we were trying to record one from Adepticon 2017 in Schausburg, right outside of Chicago, and sadly, due to sickness, we weren't able to. But in today's episode, we are going to be talking about some of the fun and exciting things that we got to experience, and by we, I mean me, at Adepticon 2017, and I will give some reasons on why this is a convention. If you ever have the chance to go to, you should attend.
And his name's Devin, Cutthroat Cure on the forums.
Exactly. I said that already.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
I never fucking pay attention.
We're falling apart. We had one great episode. We're falling apart.
Whoa. You assume we ever had it to begin with.
We hit our peak. We peaked with Privateer Press, and now it's all downhill from here.
Yeah, I've basically climaxed everywhere, and now it's time for me to go to sleep.
So actually, talking about the Privateer Press interview we had a couple weeks ago. So one of the nice things was after we had the interview, we put it up on Facebook, and as our listeners, I mean, you guys were great. We got a lot of great feedback. There's a lot of good discussion that was going around. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys want to point out some of the specific ones.
Well, I know for me that one of the things I liked, and it's kind of honestly, the Privateer Press one and the conversations that happen like in the YouTube channel and on the Facebook page really exemplify what we were hoping would happen after each of our casts, which is a conversation happens. That this isn't just a one-way thing. It opens up a conversation for people to listen to the episode and have a conversation with others, but doing it in a civilized manner, not just coming on and being like, oh, you're a shitbag for the way you think and yada yada, but actually having a conversation and just getting it out there and talking about it, but doing it civilly. It's kind of one of the things that seems to be an anathema on the internet, which is having civil debates, not necessarily agreeing with each other, but just having a debate about your point versus their point, not trying to sway either side, and just talking.
And in that regards, we definitely wanted to go ahead and we wanted to throw out a little bit of a shout out to Nick Barnett and Brian Fines. Your guys' conversation was really civil, and it brought up a lot of points on either side of the conversation, and we just wanted to say that we really enjoyed the conversation you guys were having, and it's conversations like that keeps us pushing for topics that we feel that might be a little bit of controversy.
Yeah, legit, no suck up. You two dudes rock. I rather enjoyed reading that entire string of conversation.
All right, cool. So let's talk about stuff. Devin, you want to start first?
Let's talk about sex, baby. Oh, sorry, wrong concept.
So
Jeez.
I'll just go right into Adepticon just because since we've missed 2 weeks of podcasting, let's just talk a little bit about what happened last weekend. So getting right into it, last weekend was Adepticon 2017, and I was fortunate enough to attend, and I cannot begin to talk about how great of a convention Adepticon is. In my earlier years of playing 40K almost a decade ago, like Adepticon was always seen as like a Grand Prix for 40K, and I kind of always kept that idea in my head, so I can say that I kind of avoided going. But after getting to go this year, I can say that I was 100% wrong, and that the Grand Prix for Warhammer 40K and like the big tournaments that they hold is just a drop in the bucket when it comes to the overall. I mean, I was able to spend time with some of the world's best painters of miniatures in just like hanging out, sitting around Fort Wapple, which is the painting area they have there, just chilling, painting, getting information, tips and tricks. They had nonstop on sometimes until midnight, just all day long. Some of the prospects for competition pieces were there. Not to mention, you had Privateer Press there in full effect. They had their own room. The Hungerford games, which was you had to paint a 75-point list in 10 hours. Only what you painted is what you could compete with.
Yeah,
so that was.
I heard about that one, and I was like, oh, that's cool. You get to paint with you, and like, you have to paint it in within 72 hours in order to play with it. I was like, I'm not going to have the capacity to be able to think about the game
10
after
hours.
staying for 7. I'm sorry?
10 hours.
In 10
even
hours?
worse. I'm not going to have the cognitive thought after trying to spend 10 hours to get an army ready.
See, that's your fault because you guys paint well. When you're a shitty painter like me, I can paint everything in 10 hours.
Like, I'm honestly thinking that if I have to do the Hungerford games, I'm bringing Convergence and a silver spray paint can.
Exactly. It's the best.
Yes. It was really good. So to see some of the people throw stuff down during that was really interesting. It was really cool because I got to hold all of the new Grimkin models, which we will discuss a little bit later in today's podcast. I got to hold all of the models in my hand and get a closer look at them, and I was very happy.
Did you cuddle them?
Huh?
Did you cuddle them and call them your precious?
No, Pagani was definitely being a good parent, so he definitely watched me like a hawk.
That's good.
Watching for any flinch is sign of you flinching to run away.
Yeah. Well, I had the whole army tray in my hands. So.
Nice.
But was amazing. Something I did notice at Adepticon, and I was very happy with this, is that Adepticon allows Warmachine and Hordes armies to be armies on parade. A lot of the people who were local to that convention actually had full display boards.
That's cool.
Can you go into that? Like, what is Army on Parade?
Armies on Parade is a Games Workshop sponsored event where basically you build a board to certain specifications, and it could be anything. You can make it super detailed. It could be very plain. It could just be, a board with some felt on it that you display your army on, and then your board and your army meeting into a certain theme are judged.
So is this like, if you've ever seen pictures of 40K armies on like Google or something like that, where you've got like, here's my army, and they're like basically on a diorama of sorts of like, here's my army coming out of the mountain, and these are the garages and flight paths and all the other stuff, or here's a battle that's happening, and this is my army in that battle or something.
It was awesome. And I was actually very lucky because name off the top of my head. Long day of work and all that, but able to get an army showcase of one of the players and their beautiful Trollbloods army on their board, and it was fantastic. And I needed to get that video up when I actually show off the board, because it's something that I would like to see a lot more people do. Hopefully, when we go to Lock and Load in July, that we can get more people's armies.
So here's a controversial thing that I'm about to say. My gut says that Warmachine and Hordes players, by and large, are more focused on the game than the aesthetics of the models that they're playing. And the only reason my only evidence to the point is that there are so many people who are 100% okay with painting just primered or just put together still metal or plastic, you know, never seen the right side of a paintbrush ever. And then there's others who, like, you know, they do, it's commonly referred to as 3-color minimum, where it's like, here's the primer color and here's some gravel and here's a paint and all this stuff. Is it a evolution of the community that it would have to go through to a point where we would start seeing diorama trays, you know, trays where people try and develop a story with their army that they use to move their models from table to table? Or is it just a situation of we're trying to stay as small and tight in our trays as possible, so we don't have room for diorama, because, like, where would my templates and my dice and everything go? Like, will we need to go through an evolution to get to that point where people start doing those type of trays, or is that just something that can't happen in this game?
I think Privateer Press falls into a weird situation with that. So you can say that it can happen 100% because you look at Games Workshop, and Armies on Parade is a major event for them. I mean, there's stores that'll have like 80 entries, like 80 people take the better part of like months and build these beautiful trays and these beautiful armies that all fit into a single theme or like a storyline. And I think Privateer Press falls into a weird situation where Games Workshop has such an immersive story, and so many people are like in love with every character, that when you become addicted to your your chapter or whatever force you would choose, you want to learn every single bit about that story. And I don't think that is true with Privateer Press. I'm not saying that people don't know the story, but I'm saying it's all too often that I will go to a tournament and I'll just like be bullshitting about something, and I'll mention, what happened to Gatsby when he threw himself into a volcano, and they'll just be like, come again, and I think that storyline has changed. It has had different iterations, that depending on when you came in, so many people are competitively focused that they don't really fall into the story. Privateer Press isn't often being played for the narrative. And I think that has to change before we see such boards come to exist.
So
otherwise, Adepticon was amazing. It was really cool to hang out with like the Privateer Press staff. We're hanging around with people like after the sessions and just all throughout the day. I have to say that hanging out with Travis Marg for a few hours here and there was absolutely super enjoyable. And it was just all around a really good event. Every person that I met, I had tons and tons of people come up and introduce themselves and, talk about how much they enjoy the channel and stuff. And that was kind of like, because I was wearing my Advanced Maneuver shirt, but like people would surprise me. Like I would be standing somewhere and someone would come up and just kind of like stare awkwardly at me.
Really?
And I'd be like, hey, and they would be like, oh, sorry, man. I just wanted to say, like, I watched your tutorial on, basing, and it really like pushed my army. And I was just like blown away with like friendly everybody was there. And it was for all games. Like no matter what hall I walked into, like everybody was so friendly. So yeah, if you get a chance to ever go up to Schaumburg, I'll go. it was a fantastic event, and I loved it, and I'm looking forward towards 2018.
How far is that out of Chicago?
It is literally on the very outskirts. So,
okay. So like
I guess
suburb.
it's a part of Chicago.
Okay.
So it's just one of those things, like I've said to people, oh, it's in Chicago, and then people will be like, well, no, it's in whatever the name of that is. But technically, that is a part of Chicago. So
Okay.
I may actually end up going with you next year because Adepticon is I'm down to like 3 or 4 cons on my convention bucket list, my Warmachine convention bucket list, and Adepticon is one of those. So I may actually go with you next year.
That'd be neat because I like the idea of Adepticon. It seems cool. I just don't know if I think it's because I'm not as big of a of like a painter. It's not as exciting for me to go. I think I'm not sure.
Well, is that because Adepticon has the painting requirement that feels like an intimidation factor for you, or?
No, I don't think so because you forced me to paint all my models anyways, so that's enough an intimidation factor. But it's like for me, I don't know. I've just always felt that like Adepticon was so pushing towards the painting. I don't want to put the models that you haven't painted for me on the table because that's how I've always been. I'm like, my models are shitty. I don't like putting them out there. But I'm also weird, so.
There was a lot of really pretty stuff there, but it seemed like everybody was like really welcoming of stuff. Like when I announced that I was going to be doing the Army showcases, I had so many people reach out to me and wanted to like participate. The only sucky part is that so many people were involved in some of the larger events that when I actually had time to do the to do the showcases, that they were already focused on something because there was just so much to do there. Not to mention the vendors hall was absolutely wonderful. It was such a great vendor hall. You could get everything you were looking for. So now that we talked about my past weekend, let's talk about Advanced Maneuvers' future.
We're closing up shop. We will never do anything ever again. Thanks for all the fish. We're out. No. So normally we do a channel update, or in the past I have done channel updates where I'll sit down in front of a camera awkwardly and let you guys know like what we've done in the past and what we're planning on doing in the future. But since we got this whole turn extension thing, I decided to usurp Tony's captainship and say that we were going to do the update via this turn extension.
Which I'm fine with. You do you, Kevin. You do you.
Don't judge me. The biggest thing so some of you may have noticed. Let me take a step back. We've had to go through some changes, and we actually have some things that we are looking to do. So some of the things that have already happened in 2017 is we gone through and Devin came on and started doing the Cutting Corners series, which is us just trying to give short little snippets on how to improve the hobby, be it, I think Pokey did one that was as simple as gap filling. Devin, you've done one that was like how to use bark chips for bases and stuff like that. Stuff that isn't necessarily about the game, but is like, how do I improve the hobby? And I hope that Devin's going to continue the series and keep producing more of that stuff as he stays quiet.
I stay super quiet.
I did just send you one, so I mean we should. I don't see any reason. Yeah. It was in the last when I sent you the it was in that grouping of stuff when I did the review for the AKs. There's also one in there for keeping a hobby journal.
We may need to do that one again because I think I might have deleted it.
Wow.
I'm pulling back the curtain and showing people that this is the unorganizedness that we have with video editing. So we did the Cutting Corner series, and that's just an attempt to improve hobby throughout the content because I will 100% admit, and I think Devin can agree with me, I want to play games against painted armies. I'm not going to ever tell somebody I don't want to play you because you don't have painted.
That's a lie. He will tell you.
Shut up! I only tell you.
I have fucking heard it. He has said it. He says, "Get that unpainted shit out of here."
And he has
scrub.
literally slapped my shit onto the floor and then spit on it. Very hurtful.
That was a factual statement up until the spit part.
Oppo.
It's a much more enjoyable game for me to play against another painted army. The immersion is there. It doesn't pull me out of the game when I look at plastic and metal and stuff like that. So that's kind of the Cutting Corner series, is just trying to improve the hobby content of the world. Then we have the Honest Review series, which is the brainchild of Devin as well, which is taking the channel that we have and exposing people to Warmachine and Horde accessories, content, things that they might not necessarily have access or availability because they don't have a local store, or they don't, maybe their store doesn't carry it or something like that, and they're interested in something, but they're not quite sure if they want to go online to order it without ever having it sight unseen. So Honest Reviews gives the ability of us actually putting the product in front of you, and we kind of get to, I don't want to say stress test it, but we have a rubric, or Devin has a rubric that we go through, which helps us to identify, is this an okay product? Is this a good product? Or is this just a crappy product? Stay the hell away from it. I don't think to date we've had a quote-unquote crappy product that you need to stay away from. But it's just an opportunity for us to get things out there so that people can see it and have a little bit more knowledge about what they're doing with their hobby dollars.
Yeah, it's been really eye-opening for me, especially getting to for me now, how many people are now reaching out to me, asking me to do reviews of different products, because, with the internet being such a large resource that you can buy stuff off of, you can't always see everything. So a little bit of a sneak peek into something before you buy it is good. I will say, though, on the idea of we haven't done anything that's I am hoping to create a video with a little bit of an addendum after further research on my last honest review, the A case, because some of my earlier statements, while true, after seeing the case and taking the case to Adepticon with me, actually proved to be very fateful, and proved to me that the case is not a very good deal. So look forward to putting out that addendum soon.
Interesting.
And then, so we had the Cutting Corners, we had the Honest Reviews, we've got Turn Extension, which Tony has decided to resurrect. For those of you who don't know, this is the third attempt at making Turn Extension work. The first one, I think...
Let's see, the first one is when... No, you were editing it, because Gaston would put it on, and what we would do is be the once-a-month thing, where whoever played on the channel, we would actually talk more in depth about our games. And it didn't last very long, because it only came out once a month. It was a lot of editing. And it just felt very, I don't know. It was something missing from it. It wasn't exactly what we thought it would be.
Yeah, well, and that's, I mean, Turn Extension's name came from the fact of we originally, before the end of our battle reports where we have our final thoughts, we used to just end the video and people would be like, hey, we want some feedback on, like, what did you think about the game and stuff like that. So that's kind of why Turn Extension started, and that's where it got its name. It was an extension of the games that we were playing. But like Tony said, it just felt weird and died on the vine.
And then the second version, where I tried to resurrect it, we were doing it still once a month, but I never had a set time we were doing it, never really had a set group, and we kind of just waited until something exciting happened, and then we would record. And I think we only got 3 or 4 episodes of that.
Yeah, and that was just that was another, and that is actually a prime example. If you're ever interested in doing a podcast or battle reports YouTube channel or anything that has some sort of subscriber content to it, the best advice anyone could ever give you is find out what your schedule is. Determine what your schedule is and do your best to stick to it, be it weekly, be it bi-monthly, whatever the case is, and stick to it, because you'll get people who will want to follow and listen to you if they know it's not going to be 3 months before the next thing comes out.
It's true. That is very true.
I actually remember I wasn't even part of the Advanced Maneuvers team when you asked me to come on to Turn Extension in the second iteration.
Yeah, it was a floundering trial, desperate to survive. And then something ended up happening. Tony became the El Capitan of Turn Extension, and he was like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do it weekly. We're going to keep it short. It's just going to be the three of us. Let's go. And so far, knock on wood, so far it's been going okay, although he's been slacking as of late, slacker.
I have been slacking as late. Yeah, it was more so, I think for me, it was because I knew I haven't been contributing to the channel for anything else lately because of the distance, and more so because of the overnight work, which should be ending come middle of May. I will be in a new position, so no more overnight unless I absolutely have to for certain purposes. But no, so that was kind of the reason I wanted to kind of start this up to that. And I mean, we always shoot this shit anyways and talk about Warmachine. Why not just record it?
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, the reason why Devin and Tony don't appear on the channel as often as some of the others do is they both live about 4 hours in a different direction from the rest of the cast. Yeah. So getting games with them isn't exactly like, hey, let's just meet up and play a game. It's like, we need to actually organize a schedule in order to play a game with them.
Devin is a lot better about getting his schedule organized than I am right now, though. I am a pretty big slacker. But that will change soon. That will change pretty soon.
You can't even use a kid as an excuse because Devin's got one too.
I know. I can't use it. I got no excuses for it. Whatever. My excuse right now is that I work overnight.
I'm paving the way for Tony. I pave the way. See, I'm educating Tony. Teaching Tony that it can be done.
It can be. It can be.
But I mean, if you were as ugly as Tony and had a wife as beautiful as his, I mean...
That is true.
I know nobody who's listening to this podcast has ever seen his wife, but everybody who sees his wife immediately looks at Tony and goes, how in the hell did you do that?
I'm pretty proud of myself.
It's okay, Tony, because Soulless, the first time that he met Misty, my wife, I said, hey, there's my wife right there. And of course, there was another woman there. And he was like, oh. And then Misty walked in. I said, this is my wife, Misty. And he looks at Misty, and his exact words are, really? Him?
That's pretty good. That's great.
So we had Cutting Corners, we have Honest Reviews, we have Turn Extension, and through those things, we've had different opportunities to work with other groups. We've started working with Privateer Press. Just recently, if you saw in the last battle report that went up, we are actually now sponsored. Muse on Minis reached out to us and was like, hey, we like your stuff. We'd like to sponsor you. Which is cool because it helps to, we are one of, if not one of the more long-term nonprofits. Like at no point in time have we ever Patreoned anything. We've never gone out for donations or anything like that. It's everything that has ever happened on Advanced Maneuvers has always been out of pocket or blood, sweat, and tears on the cast and crew, and we want to continue that way. It's been one of the things that it's come up as a conversation many times of, hey, should we start looking for money, because going to cons is expensive as hell and covering cons is expensive as hell, and these equipment aren't cheap, and we've just kind of committed to, no, this is something that we want to do because we enjoy it for fun and it's not a job. At no point in time do any of us want this to become our 9-to-5 job.
Yeah. So I give a lot of credit to the cast. I mean, the entire cast, everybody that's a part of it. You've got Iron Lich and Fort and Pokey and Gaston and everybody else that's included has been super willing to donate resources. We have multiple cameras, we have audio systems, and just as a group, everybody's willingness to put stuff out for you guys, the listeners, on our dime has just been, really, really motivating.
And that's our big thing. Like the biggest thing we could ask for, like for the team, for our listeners to do, is just share our stuff. Let people know about us, so we know that we're doing something that's not, that's actually worth it. That's kind of our biggest thing.
Or something as simple as commenting on a video or just liking the video. I mean, anybody who's familiar with YouTube likes drives traffic. comments drives traffic. Unbeknownst to a lot of people, if a video doesn't get comments, it doesn't actually get picked up by most of the YouTube search engine script that they have. So if anyone is ever looking to help, don't look, it's not a matter of funding or anything like that. Help us spread the word. Help us, get the channel out there so people know about it. Because though we may be nearing 9,000 subscribers, there's still plenty more people out there who don't know about Advanced Maneuvers. It happens. Like we'll go to a convention and like Devin was saying, we'll have people come up, and I'll admit I love having people come up and just saying, hey, love your stuff and all this stuff. It really it's a self-gratifying experience for me. So if at any point in time you see us at a con, don't assume that we're too high and mighty to be talked to. We are just like you. We put our pants on the same way as you. We lose games the same way that people do. So don't ever feel intimidated to talk to us. Come talk to us and have a conversation with us. We'd love it. And, if it's lunchtime or dinner time, come out with us to lunch or dinner and let's talk. But the big thing is that Muse on Minis came by. I was like, hey, we want to support you. It's a way of helping us out. It's not monetary in any way, shape, or form. So don't ever think that Muse is paying us for anything, because they're not. Again, we're a nonprofit. We don't want any money. This is just fun. They wanted to sponsor us. They wanted to help out, and we appreciate them kind of getting out there and helping us, get on to the Muse network. So we've had those conversations. We've had conversations with Privateer Press. We just had them come on to one of the turn extensions. We've talked in the past with Moose Machine. We regularly work with and talk with Painting with Menoth John, and it's all these things that kind of help us to develop this resource, this cool little environment that is Advanced Maneuvers, and we want to continue that. So we're hoping that more people will reach out to us. But one of the big things is that, and this is kind of one of the more important things I wanted to get out, is, as mentioned, we have a lot of things that are happening in our life. We've got job rotations. We've got, several of the Advanced Maneuvers cast have newborns. I've got a teenager. Oh my God, saved my life. A lot of things are happening in our lives right now, and it's impacting Advanced Maneuvers, like the fact that we didn't get to turn extensions out. We actually are frustrated by that. Like, it's one of those situations where we're like, God damn, we didn't get a turn extension out this week. That irritates us. It's not whatever, we didn't get a turn extension, we don't care. We kind of get irritated by that, and then the more it happens, the more we get irritated, and we just kind of have to force ourselves to do it sometimes. Hell-bent that I'm actually looking at my work computer right now, and I've just got another 12 emails. Fun.
We'll wrap this up soon then.
No, that's fine. They can wait. It's just the government. The big thing with is we've got a...
Uh-oh. Hello?
I'm pretty sure Tony's gone, because I can hear you perfectly, Kevin.
No,
Okay.
I'm back now. Sorry, something just happened on my computer.
Okay.
And I'm back.
Sorry. I don't know what happened, but everything just stopped.
Are we still recording?
Yeah, we're still recording. I think my computer's trying to restart. I don't know.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
So we've been having a lot of things that have been happening in our lives, and we had to make the decision to change our schedule. Advanced Maneuvers, since its inception, was always a every week battle report channel. Was kind of one of the things that we sat down. I actually wish that somebody would have came along early on and said, hey, you're just starting out, don't do every week. You're insane. Because it's keeping up with the needs for running a battle report every week is intense. Like, it's constantly pushing new content out. And though the stuff like cutting corners and turn extension and all that stuff can be edited and ready to go in an hour, a battle report is like 5 to 6 hours of editing. So it's a significant amount of record time, audio time with the players to get their audios in, me to get the editing and overlays in. So it came a situation where we recognized that at this point in our time, we can't dedicate enough time to continue with the every week battle reports. So what we ended up doing was we decided that we were going to do every other week or bi-monthly, where we would get a battle report out. So the big thing about this, and I don't want people to freak out and be like, oh no, this is the end. These are the first seal has been broken for the end of Advanced Maneuvers. This is not us pulling back because we're not interested in the game. We love this game. We love playing it. We love doing it. We just have real life issues that are coming into play, and we don't want to leave you guys, the subscribers, basically hanging there going, where the fuck's the battle report? Like, why the hell aren't they uploading anymore? So we committed to at least doing by every other week. That being said, if we get an opportunity to record a bunch of battle reports, then we will have time periods where we actually do go back to the every week. So it's not a situation of we won't release extra battle reports if we have them. We're just at least committing to you guys that we will at least get you one every other week. So there may be some weeks where you get them every week, and there may be some months where you get them every week, and there may be some months where you get them every other week. But we wanted to make sure that we came out and we were very transparent that we are committed to giving you every other week, and we'll see what happens from there. Now, this isn't locked in stone, just like we're changing from weekly to every other week. Maybe 6 or 7 months down the road, things settle in our lives and we can go back to weekly. Maybe we stay every other week and we just fill in as needed for the rest of Advanced Maneuvers. It's really hard to say, but we just wanted to come out and commit to every other week so that at no point in time are you guys ever like, what the hell? As I mentioned before, anytime you ever want to do something that's subscriber based, have a schedule. So we're committing to a every other week schedule to you now. So with that being said, I want to hear from both of my cast members. What was going through your mind when we had, because we had a long discussion about, did we want to go down this? Like, what was going through your mind about us transitioning to this? Did you have fears or concerns of us going to this new schedule?
I mean, with me, I didn't. I think it's something we've been talking about for a long time. I think it was first brought up maybe a year or two ago, is if we wanted to go to every other week. I think it's like almost every year we have a vote. Is, hey, do we want to go to every other week? And it's always been no. And this time it was yes, because again, Devin's been was added to the cast probably 6 months ago or something now, officially. And then, but it's still like Devin has a newborn. I have a newborn. Iron Lynch has a newborn. Like Solus is going to school full time. So is Fort. Gaston is traveling a lot just with his job, and he was just recently married. So there's so much going on. It was like, maybe we do finally need to do this. And honestly, I think it was a stress relief in a little bit for, at least I feel for you guys, at least. I mean, I always feel guilty because I had, last time I've been on the cast was right when Mark III came out to actually record a game. So I always felt guilty not being able to help, with those videos. I was happy because I think it relieves a lot of pressure from you because, and then also it just in general, it relieves more pressure from the cast so we can actually play more games and have fun. Because with me, I was thinking, it's like, well, as soon as I can get in the game, I'll just record it, even though I haven't played. Well, this past Saturday was the first time I played in probably 10 months. And in my mind, I was like, well, if I can get in the game with the convergence, I'll just record it. It doesn't matter if I haven't played in 10 months, like it'll just be something to get on the channel. But now that we're at every other week, I can start playing games again and actually start relearning my army a little bit before I actually put something up on the channel.
And by relearning, you mean actually learning?
Actually learning, yeah. Oh, man, I had a horror. I'll talk about the Grim King game on another cast, but oof, that was rough. It's a lot of things I did not do well. But I don't know, Devin, what about you?
For me, I mean, when I joined the team, I know a major part of me getting excited about it was that having my own personal meta, which, as Kevin said, is like an hour and a half, at least an hour away from everybody else. I'm an outrigger, much like Tony. And but the idea was that I could start recording games shot at my store to kind of make up some of the lull in space that we were going to have. And then I realized that biggest suggestions for the viewers, and if people actually wanted us to play more games, is to actually paint your shit. Because getting people that had a fully painted army that wanted to play was proving to be super difficult. So, while I was able to do like cutting corners by myself and turn extension with my the honest reviews, getting games in is extremreally rough, not because I don't like playing the game. It's because finding people that want to paint their armies has really been difficult. And I know that we can only watch Kevin lose so many times on the channel before that gets a little bit redundant. So
shots fired! Shots fired!
Shots fired! Boom!
But no, I mean, I think that the fact that we're flexible with it, I think that was the best part of the conversation. Do I think that we could do a battle report every week? Sure, but we're not trying to destroy our faith in, like, we're not trying to make this into a job. Like, I mean, currently right now, for all sitting at work, you know, taking a little bit of time out of our day to record this because it's something that isn't work. We're taking time away from work. And the minute that we start pushing out battle reports every single week becomes like a slave driver, becomes no longer fun, which is the whole reason we do this in the first place. So that was my thought process when we decided to talk about this. And that's one of the reasons that I voted for going to a biweekly schedule, unless we had videos available, in which case we could really want here and there.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, I think like that's honestly the biggest announcement that we wanted to come out of this was we're going bi-weekly, or I'm sorry, bi-monthly, because I think bi-weekly means we'd be doing 2 battle reports a week, and I think I might actually put a hand cannon in my mouth and pull the trigger if we did that. So we're shifting to that. Some of the other things that we're doing, we've got Nova Open coming up. We're still trying to figure out how we can support that, because as much as we love to support Nova Open and continue recording the cast and all that stuff, and we really, really want to, we kind of also want to play. It's like one of the best East Coast tournaments out here. So for us on the East Coast, it's like one of the few times we get to participate in a really big thing without having to have the expense of traveling. But then at the same time, we kind of feel compelled, like we want to take care of our fans and we want to show Nova Open and all the great games that get played there too. So it's a conflict for us of which one do we want to do more.
I know that I personally will have my camera there and we'll be recording stuff while I'm there, just because since I'm running events regardless, I will be at least recording a game. So.
Yeah, we're gonna be recording something from Nova Open, but we've had years where it was like we came from Nova Open and uploaded 25 raw videos, and then we've had other times where we uploaded 12 raw videos. Yeah. One of the other things that we kind of have been discussing, because we've heard you guys tell us, is some people don't enjoy just pure raw video tournament reports, but we don't necessarily feel like we have the time to get the practice in on a streaming battle report. I would love to be able to stream from Nova Open, but it becomes an issue of equipment and experience. I don't want to go to Nova Open
and internet.
And internet, because apparently the internet at Nova Open's like $600 a day in order to have a good stream connection, which again, nonprofit, that means $600 out of our pocket every day. But it becomes a situation of, I don't want to go to Nova Open and be like, hey, we've never done this before. Let's shoot from the hip and see what happens. Like, I feel we would have to get practice time in. And then that goes into the whole issue of our lives are really busy right now. So I don't know if there's a way of us doing maybe some like commentary, post-game commentary styling of the Nova Open battle reports, but we have listened to you. That's one of the things that we need to discuss about Nova Open. But that's coming down the pike this year. More cutting corners and honest reviews and turn extensions. Am I missing anything, guys? Like,
hopefully we're doing hopefully we're getting some games recorded and army showcases at Lock and Load with fans.
Oh, go over that real quick, because I really like that concept.
So one of the things we did at Adepticon, and we announced it in a public service announcement that went up last week on the channel, is that one of the things that we're starting to do now for conventions that we make it to is that we will let you know that, hey, we're coming to a convention, and that all you need to do is reach out to us, and we will do everything in our power to get a battle report in with you, as long as your army's fully painted, and army showcase. Now, sadly for me, I had a lot of people reach out to me at Adepticon, and it being my first time there, I wasn't 100% sure of the schedule, so time got lost really quickly, but especially with all the events going on. But I was lucky enough to meet up with some people and actually get some Army showcases. Now, what the Army showcase is, for those who don't know, who didn't watch the public service announcement, is it's basically us taking a little bit of time to videotape your army, and we ask you some questions about your army to find out a little bit more about your thought process, and in the hopes that it's going to motivate more people to paint their armies. And I can definitely say I was very blessed to have 2 people meet up with me for army showcases at Adepticon. Both armies were absolutely fantastic. They will be going up on the channel soon. And I want to thank both those guys for taking the time to go over their armies with me. Now, hopefully at Lock and Load, with me participating in 0 events that I know of, I'm hoping to get a lot more army showcases. So go over people's armies, talk about them, maybe record a few games. Another thing that we as a channel are trying to push in order to, give back to the community.
Yeah, so there's, and I think the Army showcases will probably go up the same week that this podcast goes out, so expect to see that on the channel. So needless to say, we're not shutting down. We're still running. You might not see battle reports as often as you used to, and I apologize for that. We all apologize for that. But it's for the sanity of our own personal lives. It's just going to have to be the way it is. Hopefully we don't lose subscribers as a result of it, but it is what it is.
A cool little bit of an announcement, something that was discussed at Adepticon that will be going forward in sometime in the next few weeks. Please check back with Turn Extension because we will be having Will Pagani from Privateer Press coming onto the channel to discuss with us a little bit about the CID and other little things that are going on with Privateer Press and game development.
All right, so I guess the last thing is for me, if you guys have any other suggestions on what you kind of want to see us do, just let us know. I guess that's kind of the biggest thing. Let us know what type of content you want to see, if there's anything else. We think we're doing a lot, but if you guys want to see more, I'm not saying that's something that we will do, but at least more suggestions are always helpful for us.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, in a lot of ways, it sounds super cliche, but it's true, is that we tend to produce content on advanced maneuvers because we believe it's content that people want to see or would like to see or find enjoyable. If we're not doing something that you would like to see, let us know, because maybe we just haven't even thought of it. Or if it's something that we do that you don't like, let us know. Keeping in mind that if you're just one person letting us know out of the 9,000 people we have, then we may not change. But if half of our population is like, yeah, about those turn extensions, could you stop talking, please? Then maybe we'll change.
Yep, that's true. All right, guys.
One other thing. Tony?
No, you go first because I'm about to wrap up the cast.
Okay, one other thing for all of the almost 9,000 people that might listen to us, please also check out our Facebook page. Reason being is that, especially with us taking the sponsorship from News on Minis as well as the Honest Review materials, trying to take anything that we review if possible, and we're going to try and do giveaways every month. And a lot of that will be featured through our book page. So definitely make sure to check that out and subscribe to it because, those are going to start popping up, and it's a way to get yourself some free loot.
As they would say on MTV Cribs, the Facebook page is where the magic happens.
Jesus Christ. All right, guys. So with that being said, I want to thank everyone for listening to another episode of Turn Extension.
Have a good night.
Everybody.